have a new beginning and there's nothing before that beginning. 7 is the number of completion. 8 is the number of what is beyond completion. 8 goes beyond the end. In fact, so 7 is like end, finite, finish, finite. But 8 speaks of infinite, infinite. It's what breaks the numbers, in the order of the numbers. And so here you have a whole holy day, the very last one, named, and it's kind of after the last, and it's named by the number 8. It doesn't have any, it says the gathering of 8. 8. That you will have that, it comes the 8th day of God. It's like saying the Beatles had a song called 8 Days a Week. Some of you remember it at the time. But the Beatles sang 8 days a week, I love you. 8 days a week is not enough to say I care. What were they saying? Same concept. They were saying that there are not enough days in the week to contain my love. It's saying that it's breaking out of barriers. So that is really, that is what 8's about. And meaning that it goes beyond time. It breaks the barriers. It'll be like saying the 61st second of the hour, or the 25th hour in the day, or the 13th month of the year, or the 101st year of the century. That's all 8 is about, breaking the barrier. And here you have this holy day by God, where some rabbis say it's part of Sukkot, Tabernacles. Others say it's a festival. It's one day. At least in Israel, it's a festival in itself. It has its own nature. We don't quite understand it. What is it? Well, so in other words, to understand 8, you got to understand 7 in the Bible. But so to understand this holiday, this mystical holy 8 day, you need to understand the Feast of Tabernacles, which is 7 days. 7 days. What is Tabernacles all about? 7. You got 7 there. You got the number 7 there. You got the mystery of 7 in Tabernacles. You have, first of all, it's 7 days. But it's not only 7 days, it takes place in the 7th month. It's the 7th month, 7 days. And what is 7 about? Ending, closing. So what is the Feast of Tabernacles about? It's the closing feast of the biblical year. It's about the closing. It's the ingathering. It's the final ingathering. Everything is finished. It's the last thing. In Leviticus 23, it's the end. You got your sins forgiven. Everything is closing. The end of the year, end, 7. Just like this, the Sabbath is the closing day, 7. Tabernacles is the closing feast, 7. And then you get 7, it leads up, the 7 days lead up until you get the biggest day of Tabernacles. You know this because you read it in the New Testament. It says, then on the great day of the feast. Remember that? That's when he stood up and cried out. What day was that? It was the 7th day. It was called Hoshana Rabbah. Say it. Which means the day of the great Hosanna. And that was the last great day of the feast, and it was the 7th day of the 7-day feast in the 7th month. And that day they would make 7 revolutions, 7 processions around the altar. And on 7th day, when on the altar were offered up 7 offerings, it's all about 7, completion, complete. It's the completion of the completion of the completion. The year is finished. 7. It all happens, it all finishes on that day of 7s. And then comes this mystery added on day, Shemini Atzeret, 8th day, day of the 8th. So what is that? What happened biblically, in biblical times, what happened on the day of Shemini Atzeret, the day of the 8th, the gathering of the 8th day? What happened? What happened was that all the Israelites, as that day came, as the sun set, they would all leave their sukkahs. They would leave their tabernacles or take them down. In the days of the temple, they were dismantling their sukkahs in Jerusalem, and they would return, or they were allowed now to return to their homes or a dwelling other than their sukkah. In the last day in Israel, on this day, is where the last portion of the Torah is finished. And on this day, there are 7 processions made like as on the day before, it's seventh on the Hoshana Rabbah, they march around the altar with palm branches and willow branches and cry out Hosanna. That's the seventh day. But on the eighth day, they also go around, but they don't carry branches anymore. They carry scrolls. The circle speaks of completion. The scroll, again, one is ended, one is begun after the end, and one is rolled back to the beginning. The new scroll coming out. And what is it all about? It's all the mystery of 8. Here, listen what some rabbis said, or observers, concerning the meaning of this mystery of the 8th day gathering. Listen to this. One said this: this holiday, says one, has no particular character. It has no characteristic, mitzvah, or other than to rejoice. In other words, they're saying we don't know what it means. It has no characteristic. Another one says, nevertheless, the fact that Shemini Atzeret makes it possible for these influences to be internalized indicates that it possesses a very powerful thing. And this more powerful enables the revelations which transcend the world. What it's saying is, what this rabbi is saying, is that this thing is about what's inside. It's not on the outside. And it's about something that is transcendent. Transcendent. That's the number 8. It transcends. What is the mystery of the day that